After flipping 24 Democratic seats in the Vermont statehouse this week, new Republican lawmakers are coming up with ideas to bring to Montpelier. That includes 2 representative-elects who defeated Democrats that chaired their House committees. ABC 22's Matt Holderman caught up with the soon-to-be lawmakers today, and he joins me now live in the newsroom.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, an argument some Vermont Democrats have made recently is that while Republicans blamed them for this year's large property tax increases, they don't have solutions themselves. So today I asked the Republicans getting ready to start their first terms what plans they have and how they feel about the new balance of power under the Golden Dome. Republican State House-elect Joe Luno spent Thursday afternoon taking down the last of his campaign signs around St. Albans after an election night victory against incumbent Democratic Representative Mike McCarthy.
Well, it's certainly an honor and a privilege to have gotten the consideration of the voters here in Franklin 3.
And when he gets to Montpelier in January, he won't be alone. He'll be part of a large freshman class of Republicans after the party managed to flip 18 seats in the Vermont House and 6 in the state Senate, wiping out a Democratic supermajority that had stood for multiple years.
I mean, that's the big outcome here, really, is that Vermonters finally got a more balanced legislature, which we have sorely needed.
All the state rep-elects largely agree that there will now be more of a balance of power in the state house, which they think will result in more productive solutions and give power back to Governor Scott, who is less likely to have any of his vetoes overturned should he disagree with legislator decisions.
Hopefully the governor does not need to use the veto pen as much as he did in the last biennium. But if he does, it will be known that those vetoes are going to be sustained.
Now we'll have an opportunity to have a discussion, a meaningful discussion, where people will be in a space where they will need to compromise if they want anything to get done.
On the issues, the new reps say Vermont needs more cost containment and less spending, especially when it comes to property taxes and school funding. Luno and North have some ideas that they are ready to pitch.
I would like to see some sort of system where there's a reasonable allocation per student with all the modifiers that exist now. And then if a district wants to make expenditures beyond that, I think that those costs should be borne by that district.
We can't just keep adding programs and adding more costs and continuing to support, say, COVID-era programs that now the federal funding has dried up.
Now, Vermont Democrats have responded to the shift in power from election night. The party's executive director, Jim Dandino, told me over email this afternoon, quote, Vermonters sent a clear message that Democrats need to provide more immediate and direct relief on the affordability crisis, and our legislators are already hard at work crafting an agenda to bring down their costs. Now, we are obviously disappointed that we lost so many great people, but we have a lot of faith in our team's ability to address these problems, end quote. And other issues the soon-to-be Republican lawmakers spoke with me about today include climate change, flood mitigation, and public safety. More of those conversations will be available in this story on our website, mychamplainvalley.com. For now, reporting live in the newsroom, Matt Holderman, ABC 22 News.